You spend $5 almost without thinking. It disappears into a cup of coffee, a snack, a ride you could have walked, or one more purchase that feels too small to matter. Yet that same $5 has a hidden ability that most people never notice. It can become one of the most powerful wealth-building tools available to an ordinary person. That changes everything. Now, let us actually think about what that means. You wake up every morning with the same 24 hours as everyone else. You cannot create more time, and you cannot buy more time once it has passed. Money works in a surprisingly similar way. Every dollar has a choice. It can be spent once and disappear forever, or it can be invested and continue working long after you stop thinking about it. The difference between those two choices seems tiny on the first day. It becomes enormous after many years. Most people believe wealth is built through giant paychecks or lucky breaks. Those things can certainly help, but they are not the foundation of long-term wealth for most investors. History shows that patient, consistent investing has created financial security for millions of people. The common pattern is not perfection, it is consistency. When you invest $5 every day, you are not trying to become rich overnight. You are building a habit. Habits matter because your brain is designed to repeat actions that become part of your daily routine. At first, investing feels like giving something up. You notice the $5 you no longer spend. Over time, your brain adapts. The habit becomes normal, and the decision requires less effort. What once felt like a sacrifice begins to feel automatic. This is one reason successful investors often focus more on systems than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some mornings you feel disciplined, other mornings you do not. A system removes that daily debate. If your investment happens automatically, you no longer rely on emotion, you rely on a process. Psychologists have studied the way people value rewards. Most of us naturally prefer a small reward today instead of a much larger reward in the future. This tendency helps explain why saving and investing can feel difficult at first. Your mind places greater value on immediate pleasure than future security. Understanding this bias gives you an advantage. You stop seeing yourself as weak. You recognize that your brain is simply following a pattern that has helped humans survive for thousands of years. The challenge today is that surviving and building wealth are not always driven by the same instincts. That is why investing is often less about intelligence than behavior. You do not need to predict tomorrow's stock market. You do not need to discover the next great company before everyone else. You need the patience to keep showing up even when the results seem invisible. That simple idea sounds ordinary, but it separates people who build wealth from those who spend their entire lives chasing it. The early stage of investing is usually the hardest because almost nothing exciting appears to happen. After 1 week, your account barely changes. After 1 month, the balance still looks small. Even after 1 year, the growth may not seem impressive. Many people stop here because they expect visible progress. They mistake slow growth for no growth. That is one of the biggest financial mistakes a person can make. Think about planting a tree. You place a tiny seed into the ground and water it every day. For weeks, you see very little above the soil. If you judged the seed only by what you could see, you might believe nothing was happening. Under the surface, however, the roots are spreading. They are creating the foundation that allows the tree to grow taller in the years ahead. Investing follows the same pattern. The early years build the foundation, the later years reveal the results. This is where compound growth begins to change everything. Compound growth simply means that your investment earns returns and then those returns begin earning returns of their own. Instead of relying only on the money you add, your previous gains also start working for you. Over long periods, this creates a snowball effect. A small snowball rolling down a hill gathers more snow as it moves. The larger it becomes, the faster it grows. Your investments can behave similarly when given enough time. That is why time is one of the greatest advantages an investor can have. You cannot control the market every day. You cannot guarantee positive returns every year. You can control when you begin. Starting earlier gives your money more opportunities to grow through many market cycles. Of course, investing does not mean the value of your account always rises. Markets move up and down. Some years bring strong gains, other years bring painful losses. That uncertainty causes many beginners to panic. They believe a falling market means they have failed. In reality, temporary declines have been a normal part of investing throughout history. Investors who understand this are often better prepared to stay calm instead of making emotional decisions that lock in losses. The goal is not to avoid every decline. The goal is to keep thinking beyond the next week, the next month, or even the next year. Wealth is usually built over decades, not days. Every $5 investment is another step toward a future that your present self cannot fully see yet. That future is shaped less by dramatic moments and more by quiet decisions repeated again and again. There is another reason why investing $5 every day is more powerful than it first appears. It changes the way you think about money. Instead of seeing every dollar as something to spend, you begin seeing every dollar as a worker. A worker can produce more value over time. When you spend money, that worker leaves forever. When you invest it wisely, that worker stays on your team and continues producing for years. This shift in thinking separates consumers from investors. Consumers ask what they can afford today. Investors ask what their money can become tomorrow. Neither question is wrong, but they lead to very different futures. One focuses on immediate satisfaction, the other focuses on long-term freedom. So now put both of these ideas together. You have the habit of investing every single day, and you have the power of compound growth working in the background. The habit keeps adding new money. Compound growth keeps multiplying the money that is already there. One creates momentum, the other creates acceleration. Together, they build a system that becomes stronger with time. Imagine two people who earn exactly the same income. One spends every extra $5 without thinking. The other invests the same amount every day for many years. At first, their lives look almost identical. They drive similar cars, they wear similar clothes, they live in similar neighborhoods. The difference is invisible because it is happening beneath the surface. As the years pass, that invisible difference becomes impossible to ignore. One person depends almost entirely on each new paycheck. The other has investments producing wealth alongside their work. That is one of the greatest lessons in personal finance. Financial freedom is rarely created by one giant decision. It is usually the result of hundreds or even thousands of small decisions made consistently over time. Every investment is a vote for the future you want. Every day you continue, you strengthen that vote. The surprising truth is that the hardest part is not finding $5. The hardest part is believing that $5 matters. Once you understand that small actions repeated for many years can create extraordinary results, you stop looking for shortcuts. You start building a system that can quietly transform your financial future, one day at a time. Now imagine yourself 30 years from today. You are not looking back at one brilliant investment or one lucky break. You are looking back at thousands of ordinary decisions that slowly became extraordinary. The $5 you invested on a random Tuesday mattered. So did the $5 you invested when the market was falling. So did the $5 you invested when nobody else believed it was worth the effort. Each decision looked small on its own. Together, they built something remarkable. There will always be reasons to delay. You might tell yourself that you will start after your next paycheck, after you pay off a bill, or after you earn more money. Those reasons feel logical in the moment, but they all have one thing in common. They postpone the one resource you can never recover: time. Every day you wait is one less day for your money to grow. You cannot invest yesterday's dollars because yesterday is already gone. This does not mean you should ignore debt, emergencies, or basic living expenses. Building wealth starts with a solid financial foundation. Having emergency savings, avoiding unnecessary high-interest debt, and investing consistently all work together. Personal finance is not about choosing one good habit. It's about combining many good habits that support each other over time. The most important lesson is surprisingly simple. You do not have to begin with a large amount of money. You have to begin. The first investment teaches you something that no book or video ever can. It teaches you that your future is shaped by action, not intention. Once you take that first step, the next one becomes easier, then another, then another. Before long, investing becomes part of who you are, instead of something you hope to do someday. $5 will never look the same again. It's no longer just enough for a small purchase that disappears by tomorrow. It's a seed that has the potential to grow for years if you give it patience, consistency, and time. The amount is small. The principle is enormous. Every wealthy portfolio begins with a first contribution, no matter how modest it seems. The difference between spending and investing is not simply where your money goes. It's where your future goes. Start today. Stay consistent. Let time do the work that people so often underestimate. One small decision, repeated every single day, can become a life-changing result. That is how lasting wealth is really built.